Good morning. My name is Ken Udis, and I'd like to welcome everybody here in the studio and anyone who is joining us remotely. People will start filtering in a little bit more, so we'll just accommodate people as they come in. If you are standing in the back and you'd like to sit down, please do come to the front and take a seat. I actually am going to need to use a cheat sheet. I'd like to start this event with an acknowledgement of country. In the spirit of reconciliation, the University of Southern Queensland recognizes that it is situated on country for which the Jaroa and the Gayabal people have been custodians for many centuries, and on which they have performed age-old ceremonies of celebration, initiation, and renewal. We acknowledge their living culture and unique role in the life of this region and offer our deep appreciation for their contribution to and support of our academic enterprise. Questions can be emailed to USQ Salon at usq.edu.au, and you can follow us on Twitter. For our participants who are online, the USQ Salon is streamed live using livestream.com. The salon is recorded, and this recording is available on USQ Salon website. You can find that with a simple Google search. Also, if you are going to be tweeting, please feel free to use the hashtag USQ Salon. I would like to now, I want to make sure I'm hitting everything. I would like to now introduce the Venerable Master Chin Kung of the Pure Land Learning College Association. The title for this salon is Education as a Tool for Attaining Peace and Happiness. Thank you very much.
Respected Respected Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, all teachers and students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. I'm very happy and honored to be here, meeting up with all of you. University of Southern Queensland is a renowned university in Australia. The school places a lot of emphasis on the usage of technology to carry out distant learning. The end results have been by far very positive. We applaud the utilization of technology for this purpose. USQ and Pure Land Learning College Association have been working with each other for over 10 years. Their relationship has been very close, collaborating on many projects, contributing to the harmony of the society. It is indeed a great honor to have the chance to work with such a fine university. The topic that I would like to share with you today is higher learning as a tool to achieve peace and happiness. I shall elaborate from the perspectives of Chinese traditional culture, which is something that I'm familiar with. In today's context, higher learning is mostly referred to as postgraduate learning, focusing mostly on intellectual and professional knowledge. Chinese traditional culture has a different understanding towards higher learning, emphasizing on wisdom and morality. The acquisition of intellectual knowledge comes in second. Chaos is seen across the world today. Regardless of your background, no one feels secured. Regardless of your status or wealth level, no one feels safe or happy. With the frequency of natural disasters and mishaps, we seem to be even further away from peace and happiness. What can we do about it? I remember in 2010, a forum by all scientists across the world was held in Sydney, discussing on how to go about handling calamities. Dr. Brighton from the US suggested to everyone to begin with giving up on evils and striving towards kindness, and focusing on the cultivation of a kind heart. This suggestion of his is thus by far resolving the issue from the root cause. In recent years, physicists have been promoting the usage of the mind in controlling the surroundings. This is very much in line with Mahayana Buddhism, of which the sutra mentioned about the world is a result of the manifestation of the heart. As such, we can see that the mental thoughts is the key. We shall break down the topic point by point. The core principles of the ancient Chinese education is what we'll be touching on first. The three-character primer, a book that has been used for educating the young for more than 700 years in the history of China. This book summarized the core principles of ancient Chinese education in the first 8 sentences. It says, "In a man's beginning, his innate nature is kind. Everyone's innate nature is similar, but one's behaviors differ. The lack of education leads to the variances of our behaviors. The approach of education is none other than to stay focused." When we were born, our innate nature was kind. However, our behaviors may be badly influenced by the surroundings and thus become unkind. Without education, our behaviors will deteriorate and differ from our innate nature. The principle of education is to stay focused. Our ancestors' understanding towards education is none other than to stay focused on returning the unkind behaviors to the kind innate nature of man. In short, we have to give up evils and correct our thoughts and return the unkind behaviors to the kind innate nature of man. What is higher learning? In this context, higher learning refers to the education by the saints and sages, which allows the cultivation of the heart. Ancient China placed a lot of emphasis on education. The main objective of education is to be a saint, a sage, or at least an upright person. By that, higher learning is therefore referred to one that educates and transforms a man to a saint, sage, or upright person. One of the ancient texts, the Great Learning, expounded on the topic of higher learning. In the first opening line, it explained, "The aim of the Great Learning is about the true understanding towards our innate nature and a true relationship with fellow beings. It aims to achieve the perfect kindness." What it means is the learning and revelation of our bright innate nature. By that, it allows the returning of our behaviors to our innate kind nature. It is also about educating our fellow beings, influencing them to their kind innate nature. It does not end till we achieve this perfect world of pure nature. Once we understood the ultimate goal of achieving the perfect world of pure nature, we stay focused on doing so. By staying focused, we calm our mind down. By the calm mind, wisdom grows, and with wisdom, achievement follows. The great learning goes on to explain that from as high up as the leader of a country to that of a commoner, everyone needs to focus on the root, which is the self-cultivation of our morals and ethics, and correction of the heart. This encompasses a wide area. It calls out to everyone on earth to cultivate oneself. Applying using today's context in the university, in all subjects like arts, science, engineering, or commerce, the element of self-cultivation of morals, ethics, and the heart is essential. What is learned as talent from these subjects is the end of it, whereas self-cultivation is the root of the talent. If the focus of learning is reversed, it results in many problems. The unkind behavior of ours will begin to deviate from our kind, innate nature. It will deviate so far as to harm the others for the well-being of oneself. It will even harm the society. What is self-cultivation? It is about abstinence, logical thinking, sincerity, and righteousness. By abstinence, it is about letting go of material cravings. It is about fighting against the material desire and overcome it. It is about letting go of selfishness. It is about letting go of greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt, commonly known as the 5 poisonous vexations. This is the ultimate education from the root cause. Craving is like a bottomless abyss. It blocks one's wisdom, causing one to lose his direction in life, and even leads on to the point of no return. One of the ancient texts, Book of Rites, taught about the need to curb cravings. One has to control his desires and cannot let it run unchecked. To this point, Quran of the Islamic teaching has a very identical meaning. I visited Singapore last year and met up with Habib Hassan. He explained to me jihad of the Quran to me. It is about the successful conquering of one's greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt. It has nothing to do with the killing of people. The meaning expounded by the Quran is exactly the same as that taught by Confucius. Logical understanding can then be achieved when one is able to abstain from all material cravings. Wisdom can then be further attained. If one is able to let go of material cravings physically and mentally be less attached to material needs, one's mind begins to clear up. Logical understanding is a true understanding arose from the innate self-nature. From the abstinence of material cravings, one's mind is calm. This calmness allows us to reflect thoroughly, and thus, wisdom grows from the calmed mind. All those that the 6 senses of the organ receive are nothing but wisdom. Such logical understanding encompasses a very wide scope. Sincerity is about utmost sincerity with no tint of craving for fame. That level of heart is true. It is known as bodhicitta. Abstinence from material cravings, let go of one's vexation. Logical understanding, let go of one's obstacle towards learning. The letting go of these two factors recovers the true wisdom of the true innate self-nature. That attainment is a saint or a sage. Righteousness is a result of a true heart. To oneself, a true heart has a strong belief towards learning. To the others, it is the great compassion to liberate all from sufferings. Abstinence from material cravings, logical understanding, total sincerity, and righteousness are the fundamentals of the higher learnings expounded by the saints and sages. Self-cultivation, correction of thoughts, and self-reflection are built from these fundamentals. According to the great learning, happiness is about self-cultivation and home alignment. Self-cultivation Self-cultivation is explained by the Analects, in which Confucius taught us to share with everyone what one learns and applies. This is what you call happiness. The result of one's self-cultivation and learning is none other than happiness in life, family harmony, and peace in society. Why do we need to learn from the saints and sages? Why do we need to self-cultivate? It is about correction of our speech, our mind, and our actions. Why do we need to learn? Why do we need to self-cultivate? It is exactly like what Confucius mentioned about attaining happiness in life. So we will then be very happy. When we are happy, there's harmony in the family, there's peace in the society. This happiness comes from the knowledge that we learn. From what we learned, we can then apply in life. We can apply it at work, apply at how we interact with the others. By this application, we would experience true happiness. When one is at ease and happy with oneself, the others around us are equally happy. This is exactly the greatest enjoyment in life, as taught by my teacher, Mr. Fang Dongmei. I was 26 years old when I started learning from Mr. Fang. Mr. Fang told me, he said, the greatest enjoyment in life, in a Buddhist context, is about happiness that is Dharma-fueled. If we can apply all those that we learn in life, all those learnings and teachings of the saints and sages, and if we were to apply it in life, it is the utmost enjoyment and happiness. Confucius is just a commoner. He was never a high-ranking official. He was never rich, but he was very happy. From what we saw since the ancient past, is none other than Confucius. And if we look from the Buddhism perspective, the person who's the happiest is Shakyamuni Buddha. If we were to learn Confucius' teachings or Buddhism, we are definitely happy. We will be very happy. After self-cultivation, we would be able to carry out our roles and responsibilities. Our cultivated behaviors will cause a positive influence on the family members. Your family is observed with harmony. By that, the family is aligned from within. The great saying goes, harmony at home brings forth great prosperity. The same is observed in an organization that one works. Your cultivated behaviors have a positive impact on the other members in the same organization. Fellow members respect you and take you as their role model. Such influence across the organization leads to harmony and thus prosperity at work. If you were to extrapolate from here, such positive impact will have a similar effect on the neighbors, relatives, and friends. Everyone envious at your prosperity. They will look towards you as example and learn from you. There is a company in China that we are aware of, Suzhou Good Art Electronics. The CEO of Suzhou Good Art Electronics, Mr. Wu Nianbo, he worked hard on cultivating himself. Through his cultivated behaviors, Mr. Wu achieved fantastic results through the use of traditional Chinese cultures to manage the company and educate his employees. What does he do? It is all about practicing 弟子规, or known as the standards of a good student and a child. He made use of the principles taught in 弟子规 to manage his employees. There is nothing special about Mr. Wu. All he did was self-cultivation. He treated all his employees like his siblings of his own. Further to that, the same treatment was given to the family members of his employees. So every employee in a company, they are very happy. What is peace? By peace, the great learning define it as governing a country to achieve world peace. An aligned family has a strong influence on the society and thus the masses. Therefore, aligning the family has direct impact on maintaining peace and harmony in the society, country, and across the world. This is the ultimate goal of higher learning or education by the saints and sages. We need to be selfless in our thoughts, not confining to just one particular family or ethnic group. We need to be magnanimous in our thoughts, reaching out to all the sentient beings in this world. We hope for world peace and harmony, full collaboration across the people, and mutual respect for everyone. Such a heart for all is bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is one that does not differentiate you from the others and recognizes the oneness of the universe. What is fairness across the world? The Chinese character for peace carries the meaning of fairness across all sentient beings. How can peace or fairness be observed? It is to treat everyone fairly and harmoniously. Fairness has to be observed across countries, between political parties, ethnic groups, and religious groups. With such fairness being practiced across the world, peace and harmony can be achieved. To achieve fairness across the 4 different sectors of the society, it begins with uniting all the religious groups together. In today's world, people with a religion outnumber those without one. Therefore, in a democratic world, the votes amounting from religious faith followers will outnumber those from non-faith followers. As such, by uniting all the religious groups and restoring religions to its core functional value of education, it will have a direct impact on countries, political groups, and ethnic groups, where peace and harmony can then be restored. The establishment of School of Sinology in Wilkes. Abstinence of material cravings, logical understanding, righteousness, sincerity, self-cultivation, alignment of family, governance of a country, and fairness across the world are clearly captured in the full details in the complete library of the 4 divisions. An essence of the library of the 4 divisions. The wisdom, theories, methods, experience and expected end results are clearly stated in this text, which are regarded as cultural treasures of mankind. We were very worried in earlier years that these 2 collections would be lost. In the whole world, there were only 3.5 sets of the complete library of the 4 divisions, and only 1 set of the essence of the library of the 4 divisions left. It was fortunate that we managed to reproduce the 2 collections. In total, we bought 112 copies of the complete library and 330 sets of the essence. We spent $15 million to make all these purchases. Why do we buy them? So that we can donate the collections to all national libraries across the world, university libraries across the world. In doing so, the younger generations will have the opportunity to read the books, which would not have been lost. That is the way for us to preserve all these books. These books are right now found across the world. Another thought came to my mind. We managed to keep these collections. If there's no one reading them, this book is as good as waste papers. Therefore, I'm hopeful of setting up a college for sinology, hoping to groom teachers who are capable of reading and teaching the 2 collections. We're hoping that these teachers could translate into local context, into the current language that we use, and even to the many languages that we have across the world, so that everyone will get a chance to learn and understand the wisdom of our ancestors, helping us to attain happiness, helping us to align our family, to attain peace and harmony, and attain peace across the world, so that there's no war between the countries. With everyone collaborating together as one happy family, this is like a heaven on earth. This is what we really hope to achieve as an ideal world. This is the ultimate objective. So such treasure and wisdom of our ancestors can be safe kept, so that the younger generations will get a chance to benefit from that. Like I said, if no one is able to read this text, these books are as good as waste papers. We definitely need to set up an institute, a college, to groom teachers. Last June, I participated in an event organized by UNESCO. Thereafter, I met up with the Executive Chancellor of University of Wales, Trinity St. David, Professor Medwin, We spoke for about 3 hours, and we have a consensus on co-running a college for scianology. This year, Professor Medwin met up with me twice in Hong Kong. I was very touched by the Chancellor. He is even more interested than I am to set up a college. The objective in running such a university, the method that we adopt, is different from what we see in today's educational system. The emphasis of Chinese traditional higher learning and that of saints and sages revolve around the cultivation and attainment of wisdom. As explained by the three-character primer, approach to an effective learning is about staying focused. If you were to observe in today's educational system, they will be teaching one subject in the first hour and another subject in another hour, in the next hour that follows. You can observe that students of today, they could not stay focused because with so many subjects being intertwined in one day. If you were to refer to the traditional Chinese educational system, they focus on one subject. And throughout the whole day, the student focuses on just that one subject. Only one textbook is being used. And throughout the whole year, the student spend his energy, mind, and effort focusing on just that one subject. We believe the results achieved at the end of the 1 year will outperform that achieved from an intertwined syllabus spanning over a period of time. There is a professor currently starting an experiment in China. He makes use of the traditional Chinese educational approach of learning. So he makes use of the method of focusing on one subject and dwell over a long period of time, and going over the topic many times to gain true insights. Such approach is based on the observation of precepts, attainment of concentration, and achievement of wisdom. So the method towards learning has to be in line with these three principles of precept observation, attainment of concentration, and achievement of wisdom. This should be the path to be adopted in learning. How do we go about resolving the conflicts and issues faced in today's society? Our ancestors had clearly explained the theoretical and practical aspects and the cause and effect behind them. They are recorded in the complete library of the 4 divisions. However, this complete library is too huge of volume. Not everyone has the ability to finish reading it. There are 2 other compilations of books, known namely as compilation of books on governance and compilation of books on learning. These are the summaries of the complete library of the 4 divisions. The former is about self-cultivation, alignment of family, governing a country, and bringing peace across the world. The latter compilation records the different learning topics, and thus it holds the key to an effective learning of the complete library of the 4 divisions. we are hoping to make use of 5 years to run this experiment at the University of Wilkes. We're hoping that this experiment, using the method taught by the ancestors of learning, we're hoping to make use of this method, run an experiment at the university. We are hoping to spend 5 years to run this experiment and study the results. To really understand and translate both the complete library of the 4 divisions and essence of the complete library, there is a need to understand ancient Chinese texts. We have to make use of all these ancient methods, ancient texts, in this experiment that we're running at the University of Wilkes. We need to understand the ancient Chinese text is the key to the success. These ancient books, like the complete library, essence of the complete library, compilation of governing principles, and compilation of the learnings are all written and recorded in the ancient Chinese text. This Chinese ancient text is the only language left in this world that illustrates its meanings. They are not based on phonetics. Language that's built on phonetics evolve and change over the years. However, if a language is constructed based on its meaning, they do not change over the years. If you look at a poem written during the Tang Dynasty, one can easily understand the meaning. Even the younger students of today, they are able to read and understand. Likewise, if you were to refer to the famous sayings of the Confucius who lived 2,500 years ago, one can comprehend this saying with ease. Simply putting it, they do not change over the years. This Chinese ancient text stay as it is. These ancient Chinese texts do not evolve nor change over the years. It is a good tool in passing on the great thinking of our ancestors. It is a good means to pass on our knowledge to the generation thousands of years later. All those that we wrote today, if we make use of the ancient Chinese text and capture it and record it, the future generations will continue to be able to comprehend and understand them. If we look at the sutras of the Mahayana Buddhism, we are able to understand and comprehend because it is written in the ancient Chinese text. Even though Buddhism was captured in Sanskrit, they were translated into Chinese ancient texts when this sutra was propagated to China. So if you to look from this part of the history, Buddhism was propagated to China almost 2,000 or more years ago. They were captured in ancient Chinese texts. And it's never lost. Its meaning is being captured. By that extrapolation, by that illustration, we need to capture all the cultural heritage across the world of the different races and ethnic groups. By capturing all this heritage in the ancient Chinese text, everyone would be able to understand its original core meanings. which will not be changed over the years. So we are very appreciative to our ancestors who invented this ancient Chinese text. They help us overcome the time factor, because all this text and its meanings will not change over time. This ancient Chinese text has to be greatly promoted. And when we discussed this with the University of Wales, the Chancellor was highly in agreement with me. For the students who are keen on learning sinonology, the students should begin with the learning of philology, phonology, exegesis, and the ancient Chinese texts. These are the basic knowledge that every student has to equip themselves. By going deep into the learning of sinology, the core essence of these great teachings would be able to be understood. These great teachings are closely linked to the basic knowledge, and therefore, the foundation must be built if one is to master sinology. In today's world, very rarely do you find someone showing an interest in learning these basic skills. Similarly, it is rare to find professors with this knowledge. If we do not work hard in helping to continue these teachings, this knowledge will become extinct when these scholars are no longer around. When that happens, such loss in culture is the greatest to mankind. We sure hope there are more individuals who can take up this responsibility of continuing this study. My report today is on how is about traditional Chinese higher learning bringing forth happiness and peace to mankind, and how we can go about passing on this higher learning. University of Southern Queensland has been successfully running postgraduate programs. We hope the university would consider the inclusion of traditional higher learning of China as part of the curriculum, with all conditions permitting. By combining both contemporary and ancient teachings, the best of both worlds can be achieved. Such synergy has a great positive impact on the society, country, and world. The impact will be even greater, especially so if distance learning and teaching can be incorporated. In that way, the valuable cultural heritage of the different races across the world can be learned and passed on. As a result, happiness at individual level, harmony in the family, peace in the society, and world peace can be realized with the help of higher learning. We believe that this will truly continue the great wisdom of the past and realize world peace for the many generations to come. Lastly, may I wish all of you good health, well-being, and longevity. May Australia be safe, peaceful, and blessed with great prosperity. May there be peace across the world. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Venerable Master. My name's Jonathan Inkpin. I'm a priest in the Anglican tradition and also chair of the Toowoomba Goodwill Committee. and I'm just facilitating the questions today. I think I might just begin by just see if I can summarize a little bit how I heard what you were saying. Three things came across to me. One was the importance of focus, of means, and of goal in education. Those were three things I received from the traditional teaching. Focus, means, and goal. Would that be? Yes. Okay. So you have laid out for us a wonderful picture of what perhaps traditional teaching can enable us to do. So I ask for responses from those who are gathered here and those who are listening and participating online.
Okay, I have a quick question. How do you see the type of educational programming that you'll be doing up in Wales, working with the contemporary university and its current curriculum? In Wales, at the Welsh University.
Yes. What kind of program? How master
Yeah.
is going to work?
Is there does the traditional Chinese programming work with the broader university as well?
他想知道呢，师傅因为有提到说跟威尔士大学的合作，关于办教育，他是想说像我们这样传统文化的这种教育，跟整个大学现在的系统可以怎么合作？所以他想知道这件事情。
现在圣三一大学的时候，我们是在他大学成立一个汉学
We
院
are hoping to
这
achieve
个汉学院呢，是属于学
a
校
college to
但是
study
汉学院
sinology at the University of Wales.
这个教学课程跟
The
教育
curriculum
都是独立的，
and syllabus
通通是独立的。那么
is totally independent from the
这
university,
个实验很好，希望我们一起
including the
做
operating
这个实
funds.
验这个实验完全用中国传统的
So we are conducting this experiment
我们的
using
课
the method
就
of
是两
the traditional Chinese
科
learning
学制药、学术制药这就是
to run this experiment.
那
And the
课
two
程之外
textbooks
我们要学汉
would
语
be
因为要认汉字，
the compilation
所以这是一门主要功课。
of books on the
那
governing
么这里面将
principles
来的教学的时候
and the compilation of the
就分
books
到
on
3家所以
learning.
它有4个学系汉文学系，这就文字学，
So there's a need for them to really study into the Chinese language,
道校
the ancient language, in terms
所以
of
这3
philology,
家的经典
in
都
terms
可以
of
作为教科书
phonology, in terms of exegesis,
地位都在翻译。
and
都已经在翻译。好，
the ancient texts. This will be the methods that will be used when we
这
run
个
the experiment.
中国的这个教学的理念呢，
The
它是让
theories
学生这个
and the theoretical approach
注
from
意
the ancient Chinese educational
不是一
system,
样
it is about
这一
getting
样
the
是我们
students
说
to stay
像和学
focused.
一样
That is
不
the
许
key.
可2样东西
Students are not allowed to
第
learn
一
two
点钟
subjects
教
at the
语
same
文，第
time.
2点钟教数学
They are not
第二
allowed
种教语
to learn, for example, language in
它
the
可以
first
从小
hour,
学
maths in the
6年级
second
的语
hour.
文它1年教完，因为语文是所有学科的这个基础，
So students,
所以6年的语文1年就学完了。这一点
even though in today's system
到2
may be
年的时候
spending
学
6
数学
years
的话
to master a
这
language
这要分其他的
from the traditional
是1
Chinese
年
educational
可以学2样
approach.
3样，但是不能同时
They will be spending one full year
这3个
studying just on that one subject, like language,
所以他
and they would be completing the full learning of that one subject in 1 year, as compared to the 6 years that we saw in today's contemporary educational method.
读1000遍
So it is
可
about
能要花你
spending
30
long
个月
hours on one
30
topic
个月时间就读
and dwelling deep into it.
读这会用
It
力
is
在
about
哪
by
里
going through it
就是
many
会
times
会很
to
负
gain
担
insights
1000
into the
页当然要
subject.
背那是负担，主要
So-
是把你那个心收回来。
The main thing,
所
the
以
key
中
thing
国人
is about
学东西
getting you
最
to
重
stay
要真正
focused.
诚心恭敬
And by staying
心
focused,
气
you
要
can
么有这3个
be
心
very effective in the
你学
learning.
你学
With
的
a true sincerity,
不是真东西，
you are
所
very
以他用这个
sincere
心
in your learning,
的修
you
养
would be very
是
effective.
把心定下来，
With such a
定下来之后
sincerity,
才能接受
you can attain
心
concentration.
里头有
With a
常
concentrated
妄
mind,
想
without
决定
all
好的
stray thoughts, without all
所以才是
distractions,
这就是用戒
you
定
can truly learn.
戒定慧中
This
国
is
人
how
的
wisdom
一
grows.
门深入，
So as you can see,
看一门深
by staying focused on just one subject over time,
有这样的定
dwelling deep into that just one subject, you attain concentration.
我这几天在看
With such a concentration,
这个
you can learn very effectively.
他6年的时间，大乘起学的时候读了3000多遍，他读注解，
Is there a,
现在讲
another
这
question
现
perhaps
在
we...
他讲
Oh, sorry.
可以说
We learned
讲这部书我的感觉当中，这个世界上找不到第2个人能跟他相比。
we have a student who spent 6 years on one sutra of the Mahayana Buddhism.
好，
He spent 6 years only on just sutra and nothing else, and he was able to expound the meaning of the text inside out. So from here we can see, by staying focused and staying truly concentrated, the end result of learning will be very great.
下一个问题给师傅。
So therefore, we all need to stay focused. That is the main key in an effective learning. Thank you.
我们中国有一个学者，他在70年代访问韩国，在韩国大学
There was a Chinese scholar who visited Korea in the 70s.
中国的教育，
He talked about
中国教育
the educational system in China,
最大
the
的
Chinese education. He said
就
the
是模仿
biggest
西方把自己
mistake
的传统丢掉，模仿
of
西
the Chinese
讲的
system is about
节目故事
forgetting their own traditional methods. This Chinese
中
scholar
国东西保存下来，
continued to say that
学术界一片混乱，
China should have continued with its traditional
给社会
educational system, educational approach to learning, shouldn't have abolished it and
我们
adopt
也感觉到
different
科学需要
methods.
怎么样来培养？
So there is an immediate need
我们做实验
for us right now to groom a group of
大
students
学建议这个汉学院
to learn using the traditional
名称是英国
approach.
汉学院我们在
So
做实验
we are working
希望这个实验
with University of Wilkes on implementing
我们的学生
this method of learning.
同样在一起上课，
Our students
课本
at the
课本
university
修个人
will be studying different
但是
subjects.
重点的时候不是讲解，不需要讲解。
It is not about
你讲给我
It is not about trying to get
老师点头
the
老师
meanings
点头
out from
再去念
the learning each time you finish studying it.
如果听
It is about staying focused. You go through it for 1,000 times.
我们才
And at the end of 1,000 times,
你就开悟大
you explain it back to the teacher.
1000遍
If
小悟
The teachers were to recognize that you do have the core essence and insights to this subject, you can move on to the next
胡
subject.
家里没有找老师，
If
没有人教他，
you fail to do
没
so,
有办法，你去干。
you will continue to dwell over it again and again and again over a longer period of time. with the full concentration, you can truly learn it.
从头到尾一遍一遍地念，念
We have a fellow student, Mr. Hu. He doesn't have a teacher.
随中国这套
I told him the method
师资师同
of the Chinese learning. That is to go through it over a long period of time, over and over again, dwell deep into it. And
费用的时候都省下来了，
indeed, he managed to learn
还是要有一
and
个
pick up the
教师带
subject without the guidance of a
监
teacher,
督他，
without the need to even explain
再听他们讲。
by a teacher. So we are sponsoring all the students at the university so that they can stay focused. They don't need to worry about their daily expenses. All the students will just be responsible for studying at the university. The whole idea is to stay focused and concentration.
没听讲，
Thank you.
第二个问题就来了。
Thank you. There might be a follow-up, one brief follow-up question. I might just like to then bring it towards a conclusion, just to say, in my tradition in the Christian church, we have something which we understand as God as the Word, but not just as a text, but something that's embodied. And it seems to me, Venerable Master, that that's part of what you're speaking about the subject of education and it actually becoming part of us. Do you think, and my question is, what is it that modern contemporary education can bring to enable the traditional methods to come alive again? You talk about libraries. Is it to do with access and connections and communication that to enable us to handle the complexity of the world and to enable us to deepen the texts and to make them part of the wholeness of our world and being? Yes, yeah, very brief. Saying the value of the modern educational system for the traditional one. What can it add to it?
他说现在的教育呢，怎么可以带动到
应该要结合在一起。
We need to combine the contemporary
这个科学
system
完全用
with
在正面，不
the
会用在负
ancient
面，用在负面
Chinese learning methods.
这个我们要避免。
We should look at
正面
how
是
the two can
发
come
展教
together,
啊，并且发展秩序，
which is the positive
这个
development
很
of
容
it.
易这个对当前发生什么事情这个生活方面也有正面有负面的，我们要正面的，不要负面。
So if we to look at
关于
combining the
学生
two
的武器战
or
争
looking
这
at
些东西
the
我们就
contemporary
要搞的
methods, we need to use
要搞现
what
代
you
人
call
帮助
the
他
most
生活
effective and has the
得到
most
更好的
positive
便利
impact.
这个我们鼓励的
We
方
tap into all those.
战争、杀人，
We should not
绝对
be,
反对。
we should be filtering out all those that is negative and
爱因斯坦如果
discouraging.
是受过中国教育，他不会发明原子弹。
If you to look at what's happening in the world today, there's wars, there's use of nuclear bombs. So if we were to say that Einstein were to be living in today in China and get in touch with the Chinese learning, he would not be inventing the atomic bomb. Because all this technology has more negative impact than on the positive development of mankind.
对于不善的事情、坏事情，
If you look at the Confucius
只
teaching,
提一句，
anything that is negative and has negative impact to mankind, he would filter out all this information. Because
哪个地方
all this
不能
negative
思想
information
就一句话
would
后
only
面就不讲了。那为什么不讲？怕你
badly
不放
influence. He's hoping that by filtering
表
out,
现多好
there will be no replications of it. So we need to
这是有良
see
心
how we should be filtering the current negative information
有负责任
out from the contemporary
不
approach.
传播负面的，
By us
传播
not
完全正面
propagating the negative
那我们
factors,
搞媒
we
体
would
的
be
人
able
有
to
道理
glorify and we will be able to propagate the more positive
人
ones.
怎么学坏的？就是这种媒体教坏了。
So media has a very important role to play. It has to suppress and filter out the negative information so that, we mankind would only get in touch with the positive side of the learning. Thank you.
Well, first, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. And I'd like to just take a moment to say one or two things. One of them is, and it's just an observation, is that every time I hear the Venerable Master speak, I don't know if he changes what he says, but I always feel as if I take something different back with me. And I understand, I think I'm developing slowly a more robust and full understanding. I think that there was a lot of content in this address that provides us with all sorts of different ways of thinking about education. And it also illustrates how different traditions can both work together and will challenge each other. Certainly, and I think that that's a universal challenge for all of us. And it's wonderful to have that dialogue, that discussion happening here at USQ here in Toowoomba. I do want to mention, and I'm going to do this twice today. I want to start with one or two thank yous. I do want to thank, for this particular event, I want to thank the Venerable Master. I also want to thank the Reverend Inkpen. And much more broadly, I want to thank those people who helped really sort of organize this and pull it together. I will mention these individuals again, but here at USQ, quite clearly, Tara Newman's been an incredible, has had a tremendous assistance, Mary and Phoebe, and I'm going to mention Hanif just because, he's going to say no because he's very, very humble. But very little of this happens without Hanif and without Mei Ling. So in any event, I would like to now invite you up into I think it's the breezeway, the foyer, the area right up here where we entered. And there'll be a little bit of food. In a half hour, we will have the opportunity to reconvene, and there'll be a panel presentation on the perspectives on higher education from a number of different perspectives. So thank you very much. See you in about a half hour.